Wedding planning qualifications. It can be a controversial conversation and a controversial topic. Let's get into it. Hello, lovely couples, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Lauren, wedding planner and owner of Bluebird Creative. I provide a weekly dose of wedding planning goodness for the modern couple. So if you haven't already, guys, make sure you subscribe to my channel and then you'll be notified every week when a new video lands. If you're not already, then make sure that you're joining me over on Instagram as well, at Bluebird_creative, where I am doing a lot more behind the scenes. I'm on stories fairly frequently. You get to see the real, the raw, the honest, and a look at what it is to run a wedding planning business, plus lots more tips and tricks over there as well. So this week's topic is wedding planning qualifications. Do you actually need them to be a wedding planner? And should you be asking your wedding planner if they have qualifications? Let's jump in. So I guess a good place to start here is I get asked a lot how I became a wedding planner. So I thought it'd be good to touch on how I actually became a wedding planner. I did not come from an events-based background. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I was an ice skater for 22 years of my life. I started ice skating at 10 years old and was a British champion at the age of 16 in ice dance. And I became a qualified coach at the age of 20 and then coached for 12 years as well. I absolutely loved my sport, super passionate about it, and still love it to this day. So I did not come from an events background. I didn't start working my way up. I didn't go to London. I didn't do an events management degree or anything. I was an ice skating coach. When I was pregnant with my daughter, so my first child, I decided that I needed to find something that was going to work better for the life that we were creating. Me and my husband had a long chat. He worked in events already. He'd worked in events also for 12 years by that point. And we thought that it would be a really good time for me to start my own business. And in fact, we started the business together as co-directors. Now, the reason that I thought wedding planning would work for me is, well, in fact, when I was 21, I had thought I was going to be a wedding planner. So even when I was an ice skating coach, right in the early days of my coaching career, I always needed something else. I knew that I had this kind of like entrepreneurship kind of bubbling away inside, and I knew that I needed something for myself that I could grow and create. And at 21, I decided that wedding planning was what I wanted to do and that I thought I'd be really good at it. So I kind of set up a business with a terrible name, and I did some market research, and I educated myself, and I spoke to a mentor, and I learned a fair bit about weddings. And then I just decided that actually imposter syndrome got the better of me, and I decided that I wasn't old enough and that I didn't have enough experience and hadn't really been to many weddings because I was 21. So it wasn't something I was going to pursue. I mean, you know, 35-year-old me now wants to slap 21-year-old me and say, don't listen to those voices in your head, you could do it. But the timing wasn't right for me, clearly. And here we are, however many years later, and, you know, I'm a successful wedding planner. So it obviously wasn't my time, but I don't appreciate those imposter syndrome voices jumping in my head. But that comes with a bit of age and a bit of experience, I guess, as well. So it was something that I always wanted to do. And then, as I say, when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I think I must have been about 28 at the time, I realised I needed something now to create a work-life balance, something to work around having children, and the ice skating coaching just wasn't conducive to having kids, not in my opinion. So I set about setting up my own business. Now, I didn't go and do a qualification. I didn't have a degree. I didn't go off and do like a course or loads and loads of training. And I certainly hadn't really set up a business before either. I just had confidence in myself. At that point, I had confidence in myself. Now, what I did do is I contacted the UK Alliance of Wedding Planners, and they did have some courses that you could go on to learn about wedding planning. There was one about being a wedding planner, and then there was one about the business of weddings. And so I contacted them, and I decided that I didn't want to go on their courses. I just wanted to get the ball rolling. And I felt quite confident in myself that I could just learn and go for it. So I booked a one-to-one session, just one day, with one of the directors of the company, and just picked and chose the modules that I wanted to cover on that day. The majority of them being about running a wedding planning business as opposed to being a wedding planner. But there were things that we did touch on being a wedding planner. For example, there were things I wanted to know about budgeting a client's wedding and traditions and etiquette. I remember those specific topics. I wanted to make sure that I knew those. I think we had a little bit on marquee weddings as well. So I did a 1-day course with a mentor just to learn from them and gather as much information as possible. And then I set my business up, and we are 6 years in to me running my own business. And obviously we have seen amazing growth, and I'm in a really, really good place and a really good position. And most of my experience and my expertise and my knowledge has just come from being confident and putting myself into the situations where I have to learn and I have to grow and I have to research. And I just have to put myself out there. And it hasn't been an easy journey, but I think within this industry, this is the controversial moment, you don't have to have a qualification. You just have to be willing to take action and put yourself out there. Be confident enough in yourself. It's not rocket science, this job. It really isn't. But there are a few key traits that I think are really important for you to have to be a good wedding planner. And there are some things that you can do that will help you on your journey to being a wedding planner. So if you are a client asking me, do I have a qualification in wedding planning? My answer really would be no. And I mean, I did do this 1-day course and I have a certificate and I have a badge that I can put on my website to say trained by, but essentially no, I don't have a qualification. I now have experience and I have a lot of knowledge in this industry. Has anybody asked me if I have a qualification in wedding planning in the 6 years that I've been doing this? No, not one single person has asked me if I have a qualification, because I assert myself as an expert, and YouTube has been an amazing platform to showcase to you that I do know the industry and that I do understand wedding planning and that I am an expert in this field. So for those of you that are perhaps thinking that you want to go into this industry, don't panic and think that you need to spend out a load of money on a big course and qualifications. My top tip to you are to make sure that you're willing to research, to build knowledge, and you don't have to pay a lot of money to understand how weddings work. If you're watching this YouTube video, you will see that there are plenty of videos on my channel for free which teach you about planning a wedding. And obviously these are targeted at couples, but at the same time, you're learning how to plan a wedding. Maybe you're a bride or a groom that's watching this right now and you're absolutely loving this journey and you're loving learning about planning your own wedding and thinking, do you know what, this is something that I really could see myself doing in the future. You're learning so much just from these videos and being willing to actually gain knowledge and up your expertise in this area. You know, the streamlining of running a business, the streamlining of understanding how a wedding day works, that comes with experience. So what I would say to you is, to wrap this up really, is no, you do not need to have a qualification to become a wedding planner. What you do need to be willing to do is to research, to gain knowledge, to up your understanding on how weddings work. You need to try and get experience where you can, and that isn't easy in our industry because there are a lot of independent wedding planners who run small businesses and they don't have the funding to take somebody else on their team to learn. But if you're willing to go and help somebody and intern to learn because it's going to benefit you in the future, then 100% go and do it. Because I personally think the best way to understand this job is to just do it and go and learn from people that are doing it well. I honestly think that is the best way to do it, as opposed to doing an online course. And maybe it's controversial saying that, but I honestly believe that this job, the best way to learn how to do it is to just do it, to get that hands-on experience. So reach out to wedding planners. You know, if there's any wedding planning mentors out there, anybody that works in the industry that can coach you into starting your wedding planning business. I work with a lot of wedding planners, so I do business coaching for creative female entrepreneurs, and a lot of the businesses that come to me are wedding planners because obviously they know that I am an expert in that field, that I understand what they're trying to do completely because it's what I've done. So I've worked with a lot of wedding planners, helping them start their business, helping them understand how to market their business, what services would best fit the type of client that they want to reach out to. Because I think there's definitely a gap in a lot of the training and a lot of the mentoring at the moment where you get taught to do specific services, and we don't have to do specific services. We can tailor our business to fit the types of clients that we want to work with. And in fact, that's what I specialize in. So be willing to level up, be willing to learn from other people. If you had to invest in learning this trade, then I would say invest in a mentor. Don't invest in an online course. You can get that information, you can research that information via YouTube videos, via blogs. There is so much information out there on planning a wedding. The hardest part is running the business, and I would definitely work with a mentor to learn how to position yourself properly as a wedding planner. And then I think what's really important as well is to ask yourself these questions. You know, do you have the right skill set? And that would be, are you approachable? Are you down to earth? And can you make your couple feel confident and happy and trust you on their wedding day? Because in my opinion, that is the most important thing. Are you a good communicator? Because again, you need to be able to communicate with your couple easily and understand their brief. You need to be able to communicate with the other suppliers on the day. You need to be a team player. Again, that is one of the most important things I think about being a good wedding planner is being a team player. It's not going in and wanting to assert your position. It is absolutely not about that. It's about working with the team on site as one unit and being that person for your couple that they trust 100% because they know that you've got them. And then there's the skills, for example, like being a good problem solver. Weddings, things happen. It's a live event at the end of the day and things are going to come up. But can you deal with those problems without getting in a flap and without getting in a fluff? You need to be able to do that on a wedding. And there's the obvious skills like having good organisational skills and good time management skills and being able to work in a team, as I've mentioned. And I think one of the most important things here as well is to have a true, genuine love for weddings. I was at a site visit literally this week with a couple, and the bride's uncle said to me, "Are you married?" And I said, "Yes, I am married. I've been married for nearly 8 years." And he looked at me and said, "Wow, you're just still so passionate about people's weddings." And I said, "Yeah, after 6 years, I still absolutely love what I do. And I think that that's really important. And I'm so pleased that that comes out and that they can see that." So I think it's really important that you do really love weddings, because otherwise, maybe it's not the thing that you should be doing, because you want that to come across to your client. You want them to see that you are really passionate about their day and it's not just another wedding. Because once you start feeling like that, you're probably not going to get the bookings. You're not going to be as successful as you were. You have to stay in love with the job. And finally, I think one of the most important things is to be confident. Just be confident. Jump in with 2 feet and go for it. Honestly, don't sit back and think, "Oh, I don't have a qualification. I don't have enough experience." I didn't, and look where I am today. So there's my top tips. Do you need a qualification to be a wedding planner? In my personal opinion, no, you don't need a qualification, but you need to be willing to learn. You absolutely need to be willing to learn. So a little bit of a different video there, guys, but I know that there's so many of you guys watching this that have then decided that this is something that you actually want to do, that you're interested in doing as a job, as a career. And I know that we have a lot of wedding planners already that watch this channel as well, or just industry professionals. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I will be back next week with some more wedding planning goodness. See you later.